I never knew that circle theorem is such easy, and you can easily understand it if you take a little time to just master the theorems that are there, the secret behind the theorems. So in today's tutorial, we want to look at the theorems explanation and the reasons behind, so that we can easily understand it without chewing it. So the first one we look at is the theorem 1. The theorem 1 states that the angle subtended by a diameter at the circumference of a circle is a right angle. A right angle is a 90-degree angle formed when you have a perpendicular line on another line. Alright, so we have a circle first. Let's draw this line, and this line is what we call a diameter. A diameter divides a circle into two equal parts. We call that a diameter, and can be at any point of the circle. Now, these two lines subtending from the diameter forms an angle at the top, and this angle is what refers to as a 90-degree angle. That is what the theorem says. So angle subtended from the diameter, from the center here to any part of the circumference, to any part of the circle, that angle form is 90 degree. Let's get another one. So I have a circle, I draw a diameter. So this is also a diameter because it divides the circle into two equal parts. And now the angle subtended from this diameter to the circumference of the circle forms 90 degree. So it means this angle here is 90 degree. So when you see this sign, it means it's 90 degree. You might not see it written over there. If I also have another one, so it doesn't matter where the diameter is being drawn, but once you have the diameter and the angle is subtending from the diameter to any part of the circumference, that angle form is 90 degree. Okay, and I can have it opposite like this. So you see that this one is more or less stretching on the middle here, and this one is on the other end, but they must all form what? The 90-degree angle. Alright, so we got to take more explanation into it. If I have a circle and we want to use another property of triangles to help us understand the theorem, the angle in a semicircle is always 90 degree. The angle in a semicircle is always 90 degree. Remember, a semicircle is the one that is divided by the diameter. So the diameter divides the circle into two equal semicircles. So this one of the hemisphere and this one of the other hemisphere, and they are equal. And we say this is a semicircle and this another semicircle. So two of them forms a complete circle. Now we are saying that the theorem is saying that any angle that is formed inside the semicircle, that angle gives you 90 degree. Okay, so and that is what the first part we have talked about. So this line AB is the diameter and the center is here. Now this angle subtended from the diameter forms 90 degree. Now from the angles theorem, if here is X and here is Y, it means that if here is 90 degree, then this plus this will also give you 90 degree, because the sum of angles in the triangles give you 180 degree. Therefore, if this side alone is 90 degree, then X plus Y will also give you 90 degree. Now, how do you now comprehend this and add it to what we have learned already? It means that when I add X and Y, I will get this angle. Okay, so X and Y gives you this angle, which is 90 degree. You can pause the video and replay it at any time you want to understand it more. Next thing is that if triangle ABC has a center O and you even twist it to the other end. But once it's formed a triangle, it must always give you the sum as 180 degrees, and the part touching the circle is always 90 degrees, and which means that when I sum the other opposite angles, x and y, it will give me the angle touching the semicircle, which is 90 degrees. Take note, any angle that subtends to the circumference will always form a triangle. So if I'm picking it from A to any part of this, will always form what? A triangle. There's no way you form it and becomes a different figure, except otherwise stated that you should form more than one figure. So that place you have A, B, C, D, and that will be a quadrilateral, and that is different from this other property. Take note. Now we pick one example and look at it before we go to look at the proof. We'll look at the proof as we continue. Now this diagram here shows that the line AB is a diameter. So sometimes the question will state it for you that it's a diameter. Otherwise, you also have to look at it whether the line is passing through the center, then you know that it's a diameter. So the line AB is a diameter of a circle. Angle CAB is 50 degrees. Angle CAB. So where you are curving is where the angle is. So angle CAB, which means that the angle is here. Angle CAB. An example, you can also say angle CBA is Y. So note of the movement of the angle. Now they are asked us to calculate the angle X and Y. Then we give reasons for our answers. Now that we know 50 degrees here, we can identify Y just by looking at the previous theorem we look at. We said that when I add the angle here and the angle here, this will give me 90 degrees. And X self, you even know it X already. So let's look for X. Angle subtended from the diameter to the circumference of the circle forms what? 90 degrees. So it means that angle X is 90 degrees. Angles in a semicircle, that is another reason you can give. Angles in a semicircle always give you 90 degrees. So it doesn't matter where it is subtending from to. But once it is from the diameter and that is a semicircle, it will always give you 90 degrees to the one touching the circumference, right? Now we also know that this plus this will give you 90 degrees, and therefore angle Y will be equal to 40. So if here is 50 and here is Y, 50 plus Y will be equal to what? 90. Then you group like terms to get Y at 40. Now 50 plus 40 plus 90 will give you 180 degrees. Angles in a triangle. Angles in a triangle will always give you 180 degrees. So 90 plus 50 plus Y will always give you 180 degrees. So I can take 50 plus 90 plus Y equal to 180 degrees, or I can take the other theorem we just look at. 50 plus Y is equal to 90. So this plus will give you 90, and here's also 90. Then you are able to get your Y as 40. Just pause the video and try it by yourself, and you see that it's very simple. One key to understanding mathematics is practice. When you continue to practice and practice, it becomes so easy and part of your life. If you don't get the angles property, in my other video I'll put the link below, so you can kindly go and watch it and see the angles property, and then you'll be able to flow well with the circle theorems, because circle theorems also contains the angle properties inside the circle. Now let's continue with it. The example 2 is that we have a circle, and X and Y is the diameter of the circle. X, Y is the diameter of the circle. They are saying that what is the sum of the angles AB? Explain your answer. What's the sum of the angle AB, which we already know from the previous lesson we just looked at? So AB will give you what? Guess it. We continue. So the sum is 90 degree. When you add A and B, it will always give you 90 degree. And this C will also give you what? 90 degree. But let's continue. The unmarked angle is 90 degree as it has an angle in a semicircle, right? It's from a semicircle because this is diameter and this is semicircle and this other semicircle. So any angle formed inside the semicircle gives you 90 degree to the one touching the circumference, and means that the other opposite two angles, when you sum them, it will also give you 90 degree. Meaning that when you sum everything in the triangle formed inside the circle, you give you 180 degree. All right. So 90 degree is here, angle subtended from the diameter to the circumference of the circle. Now, then A and B must also give you 90 degree like we have said. But we will not be able to find A and we will not be able to find B because we don't know one of them. We only know that A, B will give you 90 degree. But A can be 50 and B can be 40, or B can be 60 and A can be 30. So we just know that we need more information to be able to find the separate values of A and B. If you don't have more information, you will not be able to find A and B. But the question is only asking us to find what? What is the sum of the angles A and B? The sum of the angle A and B is 90 degree. A plus B is 90 degree. So we have answered the question. But again, we are saying that we need more information to be able to find the separate answers, to be able to find the value of A and to be able to find the value of B. Please, when you have this in your exam, don't take your rule, your compass and start measuring it, or your protractor and start measuring it, because it will give you a wrong answer. So mostly in the paper form, it is drawn not to scale. Some they will write it under drawn not to scale. So if it is drawn not to scale, if you measure, you get it wrong. So you just need to use the theorems and the properties to be able to get the answer correct and straight forward. Thank you. Now, the theorems is what we are coming to prove. We have been talking about the angle subtended from the diameter to the circumference is 90 degree. And it means that angles in the semicircles always form what? 90 degree. So I want to prove this theorem. The circle has a triangle drawn inside it, where the circle has been split into two. So the diameter is this, and has split the circle into two, forming two different semicircles, like we have stated earlier. So the diameter divides the circle into two, making two semicircles. So imagine we draw a line from the point of the triangle to the center in effect with a radius. So if I draw a line from this end to the center, so it forms a radius, okay, and from the center to this point is also a radius, and from that to this is also a radius, and all the radius must be equal. So the smaller triangle created is an isosceles triangle because two sides are the radius. This triangle form here is an isosceles triangle, and this triangle also here is an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle have its two sides equal and two angles equal. That is the properties of isosceles triangle. Like I said earlier on, you can go and look into the video I created the other time and you will be conversant with it. Now, if that is the case, this lines here shows that the line here and this line is equal because they are all diameter. And if we label the angle here as x and we label this one too as x, then this one will be what? 180 degree minus 2x, because angles in the triangle sums up to 180 degree. So x plus x is 2x plus this angle, that will give you 180 degrees. So just subtract it from 180 degrees to be able to get only this side of the triangle, right? So here is 180 degrees minus 2x, then you get this side. Now, in other words, I want to get the other opposite side. So just follow and see how it is. We are trying to explain why we are saying that these two sides, this side gives you 90 degrees. Okay. Now, To work out the other angle on the straight line, you would do 180 degree minus 2x. That is, if you angles on the straight line sums up to 180 degree. Note, angles in the straight lines sum up to 180 degree. It means that when I pick this angle plus this angle, it will give me 180 degree. So I will pick 180 degree minus 2x plus the angle here, that would be equal to 180 degree. Then you group like terms, right? And then that is why we have 180 degree minus this, then I'll get the other here. So if here is 80, so I'll pick 180 minus 80 and I'll get here to be 100. So if here is 40, I'll pick 180 minus 40 and I'll get here as 140. That is what it meant. So you can just look at it like in that way. So it means that the angle here is 2x. Okay, now that we have gotten that end, let's prove the other side too. So if here is y, then this side is also y, which means I'm going to get the same property that we have just looked at. Y plus y is 2y, and means that this angle here is also 180 degree minus 2y, right? And it means if here we are able to get it and this is 2x, then this will also be 2y, using the same properties if we have taken the steps very carefully. Now this is what we have. It means that when I take 2x plus 2y, I will get this place to be 180 degree, is equal to 180 degree. We have just stated that angles on a straight lines give you 180 degree. So if here this angle is 2y and this angle is 2x, so when I sum them, I must get 180 degree angles on a straight line. Okay, and then we can group and like terms. Let me put it that way. So 2 is here, we can factorize the 2 out and divide it through. So if you divide through by the 2x divided by 2, you get only 1x. 2 divided by y, you get only y. And then 180 degree divided by 2, you get 90 degree. That has proved that x plus y here is 90 degree. X plus y here is 90 degree. Take note. So it means the angle here plus this angle will give you 90 degree. So if you are confused, just pause the video, replay, and you are good to go. Just apply all the properties and you'll be okay with that. Now we take the third example. We are still on the theorem 1. Work out all the missing angles. So we are coming to look for A, B, C, D, E. Work out all the missing angles. Just looking at the theorems we just proved. We know only one angle, which is the 50 degree. But once you know one of the angles, you should be able to know the other angle. Now this is the center and it's a diameter. So it means from O to B is a radius and O to C is also a radius, and this is forming an isosceles triangle. And we said that isosceles triangle, the two lines are equal and two angles are also equal. So if here is 50 degree, then A will also be what? 50 degree, right? A will also be 50 degree, and that is an isosceles triangle. Note, anytime you give an answer, give the reason why you are saying it is, because this topic deal with theorems, and that's why some students will do it and then you be marked down. So let me say you look some marks for it, because you can't say it's 50. Why are you saying it's 50 degree? Because it forms a what? An isosceles triangle. Okay, so and that is the key there. The B is here. Now we said that this COB is a triangle, COB, and once we know here to be 50, here to be 50, we will be able to know B, because it's form a triangle and angles in the triangle sums up to 180 degree. So I'll just take 50 plus 50 and I subtract it from 180 degree and I'll be able to get the B. So, and it means that B is what? 80 degree. If here is 50, here is 50, that's 100. 100 plus what will give me 180 degree. You can put it that way. And you are able to know that B is 80 degrees. Now we look at angle C. Angle C is on a straight line with B, but I know B to be 80 degrees. Then I'll be able to find C, angles on a straight line. So B plus C will equal to 180 degrees. The group like terms, send the B across. So C will be equal to 180 degrees minus B, which is 80. So 180 minus 80 will give you 100, which means that the angle C is 100 degrees. Okay, just to extend the formula, in the other video, like I said earlier, you realize that we mention a theorem. An exterior angle is the sum of two interior angles, two opposite interior angles. This angle here is opposite to this angle outside here. It's not inside this triangle COB. So the opposite will give you the angle here. So 50 plus 50 will give you this. You could have used that property to get it very easy. All right. Now we want to look for the angle D. So if that is that angle D, we also know that D plus E D and E are equal. Let me put it that way. D and E are equal because they are also what? Isosceles triangle. ACO. This is a radius and this is also a radius. So it means this E and this D are equal. Which means if here is 100 degrees, 100 plus E plus D will give you 180 degrees. But D is equal to E. So I just find one of them and I'm able to go. So it means that D is 40 degrees. In other words, angles in a semicircle sums up to 90 degrees. Sums up to 90 degrees. Angles in a semicircle sums up to 90 degrees. So we can easily use that to get our solution. So if that is the case, it means I can use this property also. This is straight, this is the diameter. So 50 plus E will give you 90 degrees. So if here is 50, then here will be what? 40. And if here is 40, D also be what? 40. That's the other way you can use to get your answer. So E is what? Also 40 degrees. And all that we are talking about is that it's based on the diameter. It's based on the diameter. You must make sure that AB is a diameter before you begin to apply all these properties and these theorems. Now the next one example is that example 4. Work out the two labeled angles. State reason for your answer. So the labeled angles here, we have S and T. We're looking for S and T. But we know 72, and that is angle COA. Angle COA is 72. They are on a straight line, which is a diameter BC. So we want to look for X. We know angles on a straight line sums up to 180 degrees. So for me to get X, I'll just take 180 degrees minus 72. 180 degrees minus 72, and I'll be able to get what? X. That is angles on a straight line. Therefore, X is equal to 108 degrees. 108 degrees. Now we look for the T. The T is inside an isosceles triangle because this is angle line AO. AO is a radius and BO is also what? A radius. Meaning that the angle T, that is OBA, and angle OAB are equal. They are equal. Now that I know here to be 108 degrees, I will take this angle plus the other angle here, and that will give me 180 degrees. So you subtract 108 from 180 degrees and divide the result by 2. So that is what we are trying to state here. The two angles at the base will therefore be equal. So this angle and this is equal because we have an isosceles triangle, and being this line and this line are equal. So therefore, I take 180 degree minus the angle here, and that will be equal to 72. So it means the angle here plus the angle here is equal to 72. But I'm looking for only one of them, that is T. So divide these two angles by 2, and you get 36 degrees. So it means angle OAB, that is here, is 36, and T is also 36 degrees. Like I said, you can always pause the video and rewatch it at any time. But don't forget to hit the subscription button and like, so that YouTube can extend my video to other viewers. Please do me a favor by hitting the notification button, so that when I release any other new video, you'll not be left out. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for subscribing. Now we continue, but we said earlier on that everything is always based on what? The diameter.